I've been fortunate enough to be in the leadership development space for the last 2 decades. So I spent a decade in human resources working alongside leaders, was a senior leader myself, sitting at leadership tables, and then the subsequent decade coaching leaders. And in the last decade, I have seen things change dramatically. We've seen our world change dramatically, right? And so it makes sense that as our world changes, so must we as leaders. We're constantly evolving. And so there's this continuous improvement, there's this continuous need to grow, there's the way that things change around us, and then of course we respond to that change that enables us not just to lead ourselves through the change and the new world and the evolution, but those that we lead as well, those that depend on us. And of course, that's not just at work, that's at home too for many of us. And I've seen over those couple of decades three reoccurring themes that come up so often in leaders that I work with. And that is that we're either needing to change something about ourselves. So that might be the introverts that come to me and say, hey, I need to be more extroverted as a leader to succeed. Or it might be the women that come to me, particularly when they're from male-dominated industries, saying, everybody else around me looks and sounds different. I need to change something about myself to fit in. Or simply those that have been told they have other strengths and feel like they need to work and fix their weaknesses or compare to others in a bid to get ahead. And of course, for those that work with me, you know that I'm a big fan of leveraging our strengths and working on what we bring to the table and what makes us different, because it's our difference that makes the difference. And of course, that's what we celebrate with our diverse teams. We don't want everybody to look and sound the same. And yet so often we're trying to change something about ourselves to fit in. That's one of the reoccurring themes I've seen. The other is that we undervalue who we are, or we compare to others and we're constantly wishing we were more like someone else, or we don't feel good enough. This is particularly prevalent in underrepresented groups who are in leadership roles. And it makes sense, right, that if you've come from a minority background, that you're in a society where you've been taught what you bring is not as valuable, or you've been taught that you're second best. So it makes sense that this then plays out in how we feel. So we see imposterism, we see a lack of confidence, we see self-doubt, we see second guessing. And all those things lead to us pulling back. So maybe not sharing an idea, or not asking a question, or not going for the promotion, where we could make such a difference and make such an impact. And the third and final thing, regardless of gender or any intersectionality, I think prevalent in every leader that I come into contact with, the third and final thing is, I'm too busy. I'm too busy to think about the future, to do my strategic thinking, to take time out. I'm too busy in back-to-back meetings, catching up on emails and writing reports to actually do the work of a leader, to create space, to innovate, to problem solve, to think, to make sure that I'm close enough to my team and that I know that they're okay. And that's why I run a leadership residential, right? I think it's so important, particularly in our current climate, to get away from the busyness and the doing so that we can focus on the stuff that matters, that we focus on who we want to be as a leader, how we future-proof ourselves, our leadership brand as well. Who are we? What makes us tick? And what is the impact that we leave with those we work with, and of course the organizations we work for? It's often when we get away and we have this space that we get these aha moments, we get perspective that helps things fall into place. And certainly that's what I'm told year on year when I run these things. That's been one of the most valuable things for the leaders that come along. So if you need some space, if you need some time to focus on the things that matter, if you want to future-proof your leadership, if you want to work on your leadership brand and how you lead more sustainably, then check out the Leadership Residential that's happening in October here in Aotearoa. Limited amount of spaces, would love you to be there. I think this is a huge gift that leaders can give themselves in terms of having that space and time to work on what's important, to reevaluate, to reflect on what's gone and prepare for what's coming.